We are now ready for final assembly. So I've cleaned off all of our pistons and rods. All the rings have been cleaned off, bearings, everything. I'm now going to start putting rings onto pistons, and I'll just show you the first one of how to put them on and clock the rings. And then I'll just chuck you on time lapse while I do the rest. It's all very repetitive and boring. Alrighty, we'll start off with number 1. Sort of makes sense, doesn't it, really? So we'll put our bearings in first. Doesn't matter if it's upper or lower with the Conrods. Straight in, make sure the tang is lined up. Same deal with the cap end. Tang in. Press the bearing in. Make sure it's seated nicely. And just sit these on here for now. Okay, so rings. We're going to start off with our oil ring. Now we want to put it so these two tangs are pointing down, as you can see, just like that. Just basically put one end in, feed it around gently. You don't want to bend these by any means. Even more so with these, you do not want to bend these. These are so thin. Now again, doesn't matter top to bottom, it's all the same shit. Straight on. Just like so. Our second ring. Now what I like to do is put one end of the ring in the land, like so. Put the other end on top and just rotate it around. Easy peasy, Japanesey. And our top ring, once again, one end in, rotate it around. Done. Now we have to clock our rings. What does that mean? There's no point having our ring gaps all lined up together, because all that's going to do, I'll show you here, if our compression rings are lined up like that, you've got a big gap, your compression is leaking straight through that, you're losing compression. So we need to clock them. So what I like to do is our bottom oil rings, we go opposite. So let's say 9 and 3. As you can see, we've got one gap here, and our top one just there. These ones here, some people do them at 10 and 2. Let's just do them opposite. So we'll go the top one at 12, the bottom one at 6. Done. We do need to measure the clearance between our ring and the top and bottom of the land. Make sure it's not too tight so the rings aren't going to bind up. They actually spin in the piston when they're in the engine moving up and down, so they need to be loose and able to move freely. So for this we want around 2 thou of side clearance to be safe. Between 1.5 and 3 is pretty nominal. That's nice. That's nice. And that is absolutely beautiful. And there we go, all our rings are on and clocked, all of our bearings are in and ready to be lubed. I've gone through with a feeler gauge and checked every single ring and land. We're well within spec, so we're looking good. We're now ready to chuck the cam in. Before we lube it up, obviously make sure it is cleaned spotlessly. Get all that waxy grease coating garbage off of there. Also, make sure you've got the correct dowel in the front for your eccentric. Compare it to the original cam, make sure it's the same length. Some cams will come without a dowel altogether, so just make sure that is on there before you go and lube it up and slide it in. Lube up the lobes with this gear. Be liberal with this stuff. Really give them a good coating. This is a flat tappet cam, and it's very essential that it has the run-in lube all over this to run the lobes in properly. Break them in. Same as underneath the lifters, you want to give them a nice thick coating of this gear as well. Alright, so plenty of green assembly lube on the journals and plenty of the break-in lube on the lobes. Nice and thick. Gently start putting the cam in. Very carefully and slowly. Again, we do not want to scratch and score our cam bearings. A little bit of break-in lube on the gear does not hurt. And to ease this in, we'll chuck the bolt in. There we go. Just make sure the cam spins. That's feeling good. Now the retainer plate will only go one way. As you can see, it is clearly labelled back and bottom. So it's going this way. And if you actually look here, you'll see where the oil gallery is here. It actually has a little groove here, so this gets oiled. For startup though, we're going to just run a little bit of lube on here. And we're going to put a little bit of Loctite on our bolts. Don't need a lot. So like that. We'll torque these 9 foot-pound. Really not a lot. That's it. We'll mark them so we know they are torqued. Time now to get the heart of the engine in, the crankshaft. Before we can chuck it in, I've cleaned off our bearings. I'm going to lube the bearings up in a sec. I've also gone and fitted the rear main seal and trimmed it down a little bit. Now, you can put these in sort of cocked, so it's sitting up further on one end and down in the other, and then vice versa on the cap end, so it sort of sits cocked. We're going to be putting some silicone on here anyway, a little bit of sealant, so that doesn't really matter. We've got some protrusion, so we're going to get some crush out of this, plus with the extra addition of the old Ultra Black, we're going to get a good seal out of this, and we shouldn't, in theory, have any leaks at all. Now, we don't need much of this, just a little dab there and a small dab there, and just spread that just like that. Even that is probably too much. Less is best with sealant, guys, because when you crush this, it's going to squish out, it's going to go into the engine. You get that dried in one of your oil galleries, well, I don't need to tell you what that's doing. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, plenty of lube. Lots of lube. This is just for startup, so we're not going to have oil pressure on startup, so any sort of assistance you can give to your bearings, the better. Make sure on this center bearing which is your thrust bearing. Remember to put some extra lube on the sides, on the thrust faces of the bearing. We can now lower the crankshaft into place. Very gently, straight down. In one motion, done. And there we go. Now let's give the caps a tap with the dead blow, just to seat them down. Just remember to oil the threads on your main bolts. Now we can start nipping up our caps. We're not going to touch our middle cap just yet because we need to align the cap for the thrust bearings. Now what you can do is just turn the crank, make sure it's not binding up. It's feeling really good. So we'll get our torque wrench ready. We'll start off with 35. Again, rotate the crank, make sure we're all okay. Feeling really nice. Now what we can do is set our thrust. So we're going to knock the crank back and then all the way forward, and that should align our cap. Now we want to just put some light pressure on the crank, pushing forward against the cap, which will seat our number 3 cap, and we can torque that down. Our thrust is set, so we can do our final torque of 70. Feeling good. Give them one more check. And there we go. The crankshaft is in. Our thrust bearings are set. Now the next thing to do is measure our end play of the crank. So I'll go ahead and set up a dial indicator on the front. I've zeroed out the gauge with the crank all the way forward, as you can see there. Now we're going to pry it back and see how much movement we have. We're sitting at around 7. Around 7-ish, more than okay. I generally aim for around 6 to 8. So that's not bad at all. Moving along quite nicely, it's time now to get our rods and pistons in. So once again, I've given everything a once over. Clean the bores again. I'm about to lightly oil them up with a bit of auto trans fluid. I'm going to do the same with the pistons, just a light film of oil all over. And I'm using a tapered piston ring compressor. I prefer these over the old wind up dodgy ones. I've had some bad experiences with them. These are worth a little bit of money. I think this one here was like 80 bucks or something like that. They're worth their weight in gold. Just make sure you lube them up first, and they're an absolute pleasure to use. So I'm going to go and prepare everything with oil. I'll set the camera up and we will get all these suckers in. So we'll sit this on here. Like that. Nice and straight. Now I've positioned the crankshaft at bottom dead center while we're doing this. And now with my dead blow hammer, we can just slowly ease the piston in, holding the ring compressor down. Just like that. And now we can guide the rod onto the crank. Like so. Bearing cap, making sure it does go on the right way. The chamfered edge to the edge of the crank. You can see there's a little bit of a, not a sharp edge, but a rounded off edge on the sides of each journal. That needs to match with the chamfered edge of the cap. Like so. Put our nuts on. I'll run these up just by hand. Now we can torque them to 25 foot-pound. There we go. Just make sure we can move our rod. It's not bound at all. Give the crank a quick turn, make sure it does spin nicely, which it does. Beautiful. And we'll repeat the process another 7 times. Now all of our conrods and pistons are in and I've rotated it. Everything feels really good. We've got side movement in all conrods, so nothing's binding up. It's always good practice to check exactly what your side clearance is between your rods. If it's on the tight side, when things heat up and expand, it's gonna get even tighter and start rubbing. We don't want that. We want it somewhere between 10 and 15 thou. So that's pretty tight on a 13. That's perfect. That's on the looser side. And that's perfect. Try a 14 on this. Absolutely ideal. So that's our bottom end now assembled. We can look at putting the timing set on the front now and getting this cam dialed in.